Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Basketball Network. I'm pleased to be joined today by the current coach of Turk Telekom and one of the brightest young coaches in Europe, Mr. Erdem Can. Coach, thank you so much for taking time today to talk with Basketball Network.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for your kind words.
No problem. No problem. Obviously, you're pretty young for a coach, but you already have a lot of experience. But I want to start from the beginning. What kind of led you? You were playing in youth teams, but you ended up taking the coaching route. What made you kind of push you to the decision to take, go to the sidelines instead of playing?
I mean, I was very hungry as a player. I always loved basketball. I had a major injury the time that I was playing. But I have to be honest, still, when I look at my 17 years old version, I was never gonna be a high-level player. That's why I think I made the right decision. Anyway, I had a major injury, and after the injury, I was in university. By the same time, I studied political science. In my university, we had one professor about the sports science, and she always encouraged me about coaching. She was saying that you will be a great basketball coach, and I start coaching in basketball schools age of 18, 19. After the injury, I was playing, but by the same time, I decided to start coaching. And since then, I realized that as long as you love basketball, you are inside basketball, you don't need to be necessarily a player. Coaching is also good. It's much more difficult than being a player, but it's nice.
Awesome. Yeah. A lot of guys probably say, I could have played, but injuries, all that. It's really rare to see somebody be honest. Yeah. I was just, a little.
No, I heard a lot of story like this. My teammates used to say that I was gonna be a great player, but I had an ankle sprain, and I say, come on, this is not true. So my situation is not. I was not gonna be a great player.
Yeah, I doubt it. I'm sure you could work it out.
Thank you.
Your biggest kind of, you came into the scene, you spent 9 years with Fenerbahce, Istanbul, and worked with some great names, most notably, Zeljko Obradovic, the consensus greatest coach in Europe. I know you often get asked this, but kind of those 9 years, I know, what was kind of the biggest, maybe number one lesson that kind of Mr. Obradovic translated to you that you maybe use today with your players and your teams?
Many times I repeat, as you said, working with Zeljko Obradovic, how precious, how unique, how important it is. I think the year passed through, people will understand much more what kind of value he brought to not just European basketball, actually, because he has a great mind to combine the NBA basketball with European basketball, especially tactical wise, so strategy wise. So first thing that I learned from him basketball wise was you always have to be prepared. You always have to be prepared for any question coming from your players, from your coaches, from your colleagues, and the questions that you ask yourself about the game of basketball. So I think the first lesson I would say to be prepared, to be always prepared, to prepare yourself for all the questions coming from wherever. Then the more you are ready, you become much more creative because you start to see the different options. And he is, I think, by far the best to adapt the moment, to be creative. So I think I would say the two best things that I learned from him.
Awesome. Yeah. We obviously, you're someone who has seen the highest competition of Europe in basketball, and you also had your experience with NBA basketball. It was kind of brief, but you still were there. And it's obvious that kind of the coaching strategies, let's say, approaches to dealing with players, we see that in the NBA, they are much more kind of friendlier, kind of gentle approach. European coaches, especially Mr. Obradovic and other, maybe, let's say, older generation coaches, are pretty, let's say, loud, no filter. Do you think that approach, that old school European tough love, that kind of Zeljko had, would work in the NBA? And is that something that maybe would have stopped him of succeeding if he eventually ever made his way to the NBA, which many speculated could happen?
I think first of all we need to understand that we talk about almost two different sports, because yes, name is basketball, but the rules are totally different. The measurement of the court, the 3-point line and etc., the rules in the game, everything is different over there. Even the game time, I said this many times, the details of the game is different. So sports culture is over there is different. And we need to understand, I think, as coaches like Zeljko Obradovic, who are unique, who has the leadership, who has the charisma, who has the genius mindset, the way he looks to basketball, he will always adapt himself all the conditions that happens in front of him. So all the circumstances around him, of course, he's going to adapt himself. That tough love will be there, but in a different way, obviously. As you see, Coach Greg Popovich, at times he's a legend. He's like coach of coaches, and the way he approaches players was exactly like, as you said, tough love perspective. But if you go back, all the players that Zeljko worked with, I would say almost all of them loves him. And there must be a reason players loves the coach who is yelling him, because they know that this is on the court. Outside of the court is totally different. He's one of the best friends. He enjoys the life. He jokes. He talks. He takes care of his players. All the needs that players or organization has, he thinks ahead of the organization. So again, I repeat this many times. And people already know that I don't see any negative situation that he will be over there, or let's say not him, but old school type of coaches over there. If they are smart enough, they will adapt the conditions, because there is totally different culture over there. You need to adapt to that culture. It's like you go to another country, and wherever you go, basketball is. Do you think basketball is in Middle East or Asia same as in Europe? No, you need to go there and adapt. So I think that's not the biggest question.
Yeah, definitely. I think you're on point. I think all the greats simply adapt. They would, improvise kind of their approach and make it work. Definitely. As I mentioned briefly, you had a stint with the Jazz. Mostly, I think, for Summer League, right? You were there for Summer League, but and working under Quinn Snyder. I was just interested how that connection come about, and how was your experience there?
I mean, on that time period, I have to thank to two people. First is three people, actually. First is going to be, of course, Zeljko Obradovic, because he opened that route for me to go there to see the environment and bring something for the team, for the benefit of the team. Not just bring and put over there. He's just asking for a brainstorming, like, see over there and ready to discuss. Come over here and let's talk. So he opened that road for me with the help of Igor Kokoshko. I have to thank to Igor also, because Igor was in there, and Igor made me to join their summer league staff. And also I need to thank to Mauricio Gerardini, because Mauricio always supported me also with his network and his vision about basketball. Also, not just to Fenerbahce basketball, I think that helped the European basketball vision of Maurizio Gerardini also. So I work with 3 great people over there, and they helped me a lot. But after my first year of summer league, thanks to Utah Jazz, but more Quinn Snyder, because Quinn invited me every year to be in the summer league staff. And after I believe 6 summer league experience, he wanted me to be in his staff, in his coaching staff, and I was very happy to be in the coaching staff as a full-time NBA coach, because you be in the staff, but it's not easy to be a full-time coach
Yeah.
in the staff.
Yeah.
So that was a great experience for me. I learned a lot from also Queen's leadership, and he's another genius about basketball. And the brightest side, I think, coming from him, he's very open to see the world outside of NBA. And he is also another mindset, want to see and want to get information, likes to make brainstorming about what's going around. And then he's so creative, and he creates his own ideas. That's why, again, that path opened with Zeljko Obradovic, and then Igor and Maurizio helped me. But after that, working together with Quinn Snyder, I think they see that I like to work. I love basketball. And whoever likes to work and loves basketball, I think the road is open for him.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, you managed to kind of see that NBA world now firsthand, and I'm interested to hear from your perspective. Kind of, do you think there is something that, let's say, they are doing right that maybe European teams can take for them, or vice versa? Do you think they are maybe lacking something that they could actually learn from European teams? Did you see any kind of in the contrast there?
I think definitely, because if you want, I believe in this. If you want to be best, you need to learn from the best. If you want to be better than the best, you need to learn from the best. This is what I believe. So they are the best organization by far. Talking about basketball or not, it's different perspectives. However you look at the game of basketball, that change. But I think, yes, also they have the best basketball because they have the biggest talents. Because these players, this game is played by players. It's not coaches' game. This is players' game. That's obvious. Coaches impact in different ways. But end of the day, organizational wise, I think it's definitely you need to follow NBA, because the way the organization goes is totally player oriented, which means whatever the players need, organization prioritize that. In that sense, you get the best performance from your players, because at the end of the day, they are your products, and you try to get best from them. So this is why I think coaching side, I think load management is very important. The practice load is important. I think quality over quantity, I really believe in that. Because it's always in Europe, especially east of Europe, always looked at the more you practice, you will be better. It's not like that. I think the quality of the practice is very important. It's not like you run 50 minutes like horses and you will be a better player. It's not like that. The quality of the work you put on the court, I think it's important. To improve players' mental side, I think it's important. This is why starting from nutritionists, psychologists, those kind of things are important, because today's world, especially the schedule of the games, it's not just for NBA, it's EuroLeague right now, very busy schedule. Even Euro Cup, if you compare with the budget, you have tough schedules. So in that schedule, you have to put something on shoulders of players, like their individual responsibilities. But in order to make them aware of it, you need to educate your players. They need to take care of themselves in the right way. So NBA, I think, is great about that. Of course, this is very much connected with the budget, financial strength, that you create the right conditions. But even I try to create the same condition with my club, even we don't have huge budgets. But the right touches you make to organization, I think makes better environment for the players to work better and take the individual responsibility.
Yeah. I think I've heard a lot of kind of European coaches say that maybe we are still far away from the NBA level of organization, but they're making slow steps to kind of, spreading it. So it's more than just, 2 practices per day running, like you said. It's more about focusing on nutrition, mental health, everything other that goes into basketball.
Yeah.
Perfectly said. Obviously, now looking ahead, you are now with Turk Telekom, great Euro Cup team, competing for titles, competing in the Turkish league. Do you kind of, for yourself, your personal ambition, do you see yourself kind of, now focusing on Turk Telekom and kind of trying to, bring them the Euro Cup title, maybe try to get them in the EuroLeague, or are you kind of maybe looking one day I could be back in the NBA or another EuroLeague team? What is the kind of your, let's say, your short-term goals for your coaching career right now?
I think that I always look in this way. Wherever I am, I try to put best version of myself every single day. It was like when I was in Fener as an assistant coach, I tried to put best version of myself in order to improve myself, in order to help my organization, in order to help the coaches that I work. Because if my coach gets better, if my organization gets better, if my teams get better, I get better. So from that standpoint, I have as a coach, of course, huge goals. I want to be, if possible, the best coach that people one day say that he was the best coach in Europe or in the world. I don't know if I can do that, but this is my dream. Every day I will work for this. How I can make it, the only thing that I know, whatever organization that I work, I try to take that organization to the highest level.
Right.
I don't care about the budget. I don't care about the difficulties. I don't care about the conditions throughout the season comes in front of you. We try to put the best version of ourselves on the court every day. And as long as you do that, I think that's going to take you to your target. This is all I believe. This is why giving a short time target doesn't make many change. Even during the season about your team, like just to give you an example, how we start the season last year, and then after injuries, how we go through the whole season, and then after we recovered as a team together, how we end up the season was totally 3 different picture. So every single day, every single week, you adapt yourself for best version of yourself, but the main target will never change. Whatever the condition is, you try to be the best. You try to make your team, your organization the best.
Yeah. Wow, that's well said. Also, you had experience in FIBA, being an assistant for Turkey at Eurobasket 2017, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
Is that kind of, obviously Turkey has always been a country of basketball, always had great basketball players, very prideful in their national team and their clubs. We saw Fenerbahce winning, EuroLeague this year. So it's obviously Turkey is still, investing in basketball a lot. Do you think you could do you see one day maybe taking over, the helm of the Turkish national team? And do you think they could make a step like, let's say right now, Turkey is maybe in the middle, but do you see with guys like Alperen Şengün and many other prospects, great EuroLeague Turkish players, do you see your country kind of being a contender for maybe medals in the future Eurobasket, World Cups, maybe Olympics, just like maybe Serbia, France, and the other powerhouses?
I'll just to connect this title. In order to connect this title, also I worked in 2006 with New Zealand national team in the World Champs in Japan. So I had that kind of experience coaching in another FIBA organization, World Champs in 2006. Why I say this? Because the New Zealand national team, the previous championship, they finished, I think, 4th. And that was a historical success.
Right.
And they had no one well-known name, but they did that. because they were focused, they brought the right chemistry together, and they had a target in front of them. Now, connection with this, I mean, Turkish national team has huge potential, like many other teams. You can catch it with one huge, great leader and right pieces around him, or a lot of leadership type of players together with the right chemistry. Then you will be untouchable. You will be great, like many years Serbia did.
Yeah.
Like 1-2 great pieces, but one stud taking them with the experience. So all is possible. It's not related with having just, all bunch of great names or talents, or it's, I think, about concentration, chemistry, right? Even in national team, you need to have right chemistry, because national teams, what I realize, is more than professional clubs. You need to be able to manage the egos of the players,
Right.
because they coming over there. First of all, they need to feel the country is proud. They need to be ready to fight that pride, and they need to be ready to sacrifice for that. And then if they are ready to sacrifice, which means sometimes you will need to sacrifice from your name, from the title that you have outside of the national team, because you fight over there for the success of your flag. So if you bring those kind of chemistry together, and we have great talents, but this is not just for us. I think any national team can have a success. About myself, I will always have target, as I said, to be the best possible coach. And you never know what life brings to you. You need to appreciate that, and you need to deserve that. In order to deserve that, you need to work hard. You need to be successful.
Well, yeah, sure. And like you said, national teams are more based on players building, a camaraderie, a chemistry, a real team than any like advanced strategies. Mostly the most cohesive teams, the most nations are the ones that play the best, like you said. Let's kind of turn it around to, global basketball. I want to kind of hear your opinion. It's kind of apparent that in the last, let's say, 10 years, international players all over the world are starting to become the best players in the world. Before that wasn't really the case. The Americans had all the best players. Guys like Jokic, Doncic, Giannis, whatever you want to see. Like, you can name 10 players. They are like among the best, and they're all from Europe, from Asia, from whenever you want. What is the one factor you think the guys that are coming from, let's say, Europe to NBA are bringing that is making them so, I don't know, better prepared than the American prospects?
So I think European playing in European competitions helped those players a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Because European basketball, the rules brings that. You need to see option A, option B, option C, even option D. Because if you play option A, like, you are able to score, there is always chance for a defense to collapse in the paint and help. So once that happens, you need to be able to see that you need to pass the ball in the right way, right?
Right.
So I think playing in European basketball gives you more of a court vision and game knowledge and game awareness. And the high-level talented players can carry on this to an NBA game, because court and rules help those players more than the other players. And athleticism is one of the key for today's basketball. Let's say last decade, maybe, is just athleticism is the best thing, because people want to see dunks, or people want to see half-court made shots, right?
Right.
So, but the European players are practicing, or are educated to know beyond that. And many NCAA players, American players, are working, first of all, on their athleticism, and they work to finish their game through that athleticism. And whoever brings the court vision as a plus is going another level. But being on the highest level right now, the dominance of the European players, I think coming from that, first of all. I think that's the first reason.
Yeah, I think that's really correct, because I think the main reason is, teaching the fundamentals and teaching the game before actually being an individual athlete, like you said. And basketball is
Like
played with a
just to
hand.
I'm sorry, Matthew, just to give you an example,
Yes, sure.
I remember in our Fenerbahce years, every single practice, after practice finished, Bogdanovic was playing one-on-one,
Right.
one-on-one with, I don't know, I lost you. You hear me?
Yep, I see you here.
Okay, it's working now. Bogdanovic was playing after every single practice, was
Right.
playing one-on-one with Melih Mahmutoğlu. End of the day, that helped to their basketball, their shooting a lot, because playing one-on-one, playing 3-on-3 after the practice, before the practice, I think that's one of the most important part, because that creates court vision, that creates court awareness, that creates being able to make difficult situations easier, because you just work on that naturally.
Yes.
So I think those kind of stuff, European basketball helps a lot to the young guys.
And Bogdan, we saw what kind of career he made. Obviously, being so great at Fenerbahce and being in the NBA for such a long time, and that hard work, like you said, after practice is a big reason for that. You kind of mentioned the college players a bit. I wanted to hear it take, because it has been a hot topic in European basketball recently. With NIL and the colleges recruiting European talents and everything. A lot of clubs, all over Europe are saying our youth academies are kind of going to waste, because all the best players just simply, go to America when they're 18 years old. Do you it's a loaded question, but do you think there is kind of what does FIBA or EuroLeague or you need to do to kind of protect clubs and their youth academies from, eventually they will not be able to develop players for their senior teams, because everyone will just jump to NIL because of the money. Do you kind of see a solution for that? And do you think that's a big problem in European basketball?
To explain that, we need to go 1900s, the first industrial revolution. We need to go there, and we need to talk about how the capitalism starts, and the money owns everything, and so on, right? So
Right.
it's all about money right now. It's all about money, and I cannot blame any of the players, young players, because today's condition, they are offered millions, hundred thousands. So and they wanna go on in their careers, because they also offer better conditions, like life conditions, working conditions, better atmospheres. Because over here, players, of course, the things that I said about development of the young players has to sacrifice a lot from their social life, from their daily life, from their sometimes school careers, and etc. So basketball has a heavier condition for a high-level player over here than United States. Plus, players are making much more money over there. So I think it's untouchable right now. Nobody can do anything about that. Again, this is beyond basketball. This is all about money, economics, and nobody can touch this, to be honest. Is this positive? I think no. I think no. Because many players, even my player Melih Tunca, for example, in Efes, when I took him to the roster, people were saying, no, he's not ready even to practice with the senior team. And first official Turkish league game, he scored 14 points against the team was Büyükçekmece, I think. First game, I put him on the court, but this didn't mean that he was ready. He has long way to go. This year I took him Telekom, we played him. through the end of the season he improved and etc. But
Yeah.
if you ask me, and I told him he's still not ready. If he wants to be on the highest level, like top level NBA player. But of course, he cannot regret the money he's offered from NBA. And I know many players in Europe in this way. Like, think about Lithuanian kids, think about Serbian kids. They are playing for peanuts, for their sake of their family. You know, they have that opportunity. Of course, they will go, but they have a way to improve, I think. The only thing that I hope they can go on their process of development when they go to their college schools. But again, when you talk about more money, it's going to be much more professional from other side. Now they are professional and offering you money. That means if they are not performing, that money is not going to stay over there. They will not be patient. And for young players, you need to be patient. You need to let them to fail in order to see them to be a better player.
Right.
And how much the clubs paying millions, because now NCAA teams are clubs because many paying millions. How much organizations paying millions but being by the same time patient for the players being not successful? That's a question mark. So this is very young problem right now. So we need that problem to get little more mature, and then
Yeah.
we can have little better perspective, I think.
Yeah, I think what's kind of lacking in Europe, and I think you are one of the rare ones that actually, like you said, kind of tries to emphasize and bring young players aboard. We don't see young prospects having a lot of playing time in top EuroLeague, Euro Cup teams. They're mostly rely on veterans. And then why would a young guy stay if he can go to America, get money, and develop there? Um,
That's Matt. That's also I think that's also problem of understanding. Not in Europe, it's same in NBA also, but
Right.
in Europe, lot of pressure on coaches about winning games. So, and I understand that. I
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
that. I'm
of
not saying
course.
this is the reason. So, if you two ways, if you trust yourself and if you are ready to resist against this pressure and still you have, you know, if you have idea to push yourself to make the players better, is a big risk that you take, but you go on that. As long as you win, nobody open their mouth, but once you lose, nobody will resist. But on the other side, in Europe, if you lose the game, even you say, and even you commit from both sides, like, okay, we're going to give credit to young players. Once you start losing, nobody's, I think this, and I understand that. I understand
Yeah,
that. I'm not
yeah.
saying this is bad because this is the real world over here.
Yeah, obviously in Europe we emphasize winning so much, and it's not like NBA 82 game season. You know, every game matters much, much more. And like if you lose 5 in a row, nobody's gonna ask, "Hey, did you play that young guy?" It's about getting
Exactly.
the W. Well
Exactly.
said. I wanted to ask you about two guys that you know coached during your Fenerbahce time because they're really interesting examples. Udoh and Jan Vesely. Obviously, high draft picks that never kind of made it work in the NBA. But in the EuroLeague, fantastic players, legends, champions, both of them. What was kind of, I don't know, what made their game translate so much better to European basketball than to NBA basketball?
I would say both of them are genius. They are super smart players. Like, they understand everything. Like,
Right.
this is, you give one information and they execute it. You give one solution, they create another solution by themselves.
Right.
So Jan Vesely was one of the smartest players that I have worked. Udoh same. And they, the more they got experience, I think they were able to, you know, calm themselves down, to be more disciplined, and the more they get mature, they understand. Epe is another case because all years he played in NBA, but Jan was very young coming over here also. But
Mm-hmm.
every year he put on. He had outside shot. He had mid-range shot. He improved his free throws. He is unbelievable passer, shot blocker, best switch defender. So that happened with, first of all, again, quality of your work is important. So on that game, even that game schedule, you don't have much time, but they always created for themselves the right time to work on the bases that they can improve. So I always see a very clear example for the young players also, them to be a role model. And again, I think the mind that they have is the biggest difference, and it's not easy, especially for Jan, was not easy to go in that NBA experience because physical situation was not great for him. But again, you need to be patient. If you want to be really patient, if you really target some players, like think about the first 5 picks of NBA players. The first year they put on the court is not great, but they are physically, not ready, mentally not ready, but teams are patient about them. And after 3-4 years, you see the results. If one player is gonna be your star, it's not happening in one day. It's not happening in 1 year. Even look at Wembanyama example, right? You need right pieces around. So people need to be patient, but again, I understand it's a professional atmosphere. So over here in Europe, the athleticism is in a different way, and players like them who are genius and have other tools, of course, they become stars.
Right, and we kind of saw Jan Vesely being from his day in Partizan a small forward, athletic small forward. Now he's been a stretch 5 for years now. I think if you put him in the NBA, like at this version, maybe he's a bit older now, but with this skill set, he would make it work there. I have no doubt about it. And Epe Udoh, like you said, he was kind of, I think Zeljko always called also, like I said, one of the smartest players. You just give him a task, he does it, no questions asked. Very high IQ, switchable, can guard 1 through 5, and it kind of, to me, it amazes me that so skilled and intelligent guys kind of didn't really get a shot in the NBA, but thankfully, they made it work at the EuroLeague level. One last question for you, Coach. I really want to kind of hear your advice. Any young coaches coming up now in Europe, trying to find their way into clubs, find their way into European teams, maybe Euro Cup, one day EuroLeague, who knows, assistant coaching, NBA, everything, kind of your path. What is kind of the mindset and the most important thing the guys, young guys that want to become coaches one day must be ready for and must, focus on?
First of all, thank you, but I don't see myself in a position to give advice. I am just one of the coach who try to be successful. I haven't done anything, I don't think. So I am one of the other colleagues that you give advices. I am one of them, but from my perspective, my experience, I can share that. I think, as I said in the beginning, no matter what condition you are in, no matter what circumstances you are under, you try to do your best and try to improve yourself. Think about basketball, bring your best version, to be honest with the people that you work, and to be brave to talk about the idea, about the principles of yourself, not just about basketball, in life also, because I think it's important to gain the respect of your players. And that respect, I think, first of all, is coming from the trust. And if you want to be a trustable player, you need to be transparent, and you need to be a person who is a reliable person that people can trust his word. I think these are the facts to be successful, whatever you describe as a success in your life.
Yes. Wise words. And even though you said you're not qualified, I think that is something that everyone, trying to follow that path can definitely apply, to their mindset. Coach Can, thank you so much for sharing your time, your perspectives on basketball today and your career. It was really, really interesting to talk to you. I'm really looking forward to kind of seeing what is next for your journey as a coach. I know you have high aspirations for yourself, and I believe you will definitely get there one day. And once again, thank you for your time, and hope to talk to you soon.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. This was great conversation. Thank you very much.
No problem. Pleasure's mine.